this is an AI that will actually do things on your behalf, explain why they made the decisions they made, and then human can still be in the loop to kind of review and confirm that everything is up to code and up to standard. The old adage of garbage in, garbage out is very true. So if you have unstructured, poor quality data, even if you have a lot of it, you throw it into any AI model, what you will get back is just noise. Anyone dealing with AI solutions or trying to build or sell AI solutions need to be mindful of that. We do need to educate our customers because they are not technical, and we shouldn't assume that they have in-depth knowledge of AI systems and solutions.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ctrl Shifter podcast by SmartDev and Vericel AI. We feature voices that take control and drive the shift. Today, we'll be talking about customer success, and to help us discover that, we have a customer success expert, Matti. Matti is a technology leader with deep experience across AI, machine learning, and customer success, and he currently serves as the head of customer success APAC at ComplyAdvantage. Hi, Matti.
Eugene, thanks for having me.
Before we even dive into the topic, tell us something about yourself, perhaps something that is not on the official profile.
Well, something about myself is I am originally from Finland, but I've been living in Singapore coming to 10 years this February. And I also speak a little Japanese.
Wow. Okay. Wow, 10 years is a long time, and Japanese as well. So you are effectively quadrilingual. You speak 1, 2, 3,
Something
4.
thereabouts. I wouldn't say I'm fluent with it yet, but
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take the lingual ability.
Always good. You have led AI adoption across advertising, enterprise AI platforms, and financial crime prevention. How have these diverse sectors shaped your approach in leading customer teams?
Right. So obviously those are very different companies, but I would say that they actually have a few things in common, at least when it comes to AI. Like many of those companies, they all have either built or are aspiring to build AI to enable their businesses. And the things that they do have in common is that they really all need to make the AI systems that enable their businesses understandable or explainable. They need to be trusted, and they really need to be outcome driven for their teams or for their customers. So if I kind of expand on that, especially if it, let's say, comes to industries like financial crime, where there's a strong regulation, companies really need to be able to explain why decisions were made to the regulators, especially if it's a AI that is making the decision. So in the days of old, where you could just have a black box that, a decision was made, we don't know why, that doesn't really get you that far anymore. And the other thing is that, like 3 years ago, when large language models and ChatGPT came about, everyone, or at least the early adopters, were rushing in to build AI systems and deploy AI models just because it was so new and cool. And that has also shifted. So now it's you need to be able to quantify the money spent in AI. You need to be able to have measurable target metrics, quantifiable ROI. Otherwise, you just will not have any budget from the top level to implement anything. So I would say the landscape is like slowly changing from what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I think the standards are getting more stringent, and people are thinking a little bit more about what is AI exactly, instead of just implementing and blanketing everything with AI.
Don't get me wrong, there are still some companies who just slap on AI inside sticker on their website, and it might not having to do nothing to do with AI, but for those companies who actually are purpose-driven AI, you're absolutely right that they are really thinking more strictly and more methodically on how does this drive value for our customers and for our business.
Let's dive a little deeper into your current work and mission at ComplyAdvantage. What are kind of the core challenges that you and your team are solving for your customers today?
Of course, every customer is different. Every team is different. But some things that kind of overarch, at least at the industry, is that there is a lot of noise out there. Because what customers in the financial industry to do, like banks and payment companies, is that they need to screen who their customers are. They need to know that they are honest, hardworking people and not criminals. And they also need to a degree, monitor what they are doing so that they're not using money for nefarious purposes like money laundering and such. So that creates a lot of noise. So there's a lot of noise, a lot of false alerts that a lot of these companies have to deal with, and that creates a lot of manual work. So someone, a human today, goes through every single false alert and every single data piece of noise, and that just creates a lot of manual work. So that's one thing that the industry really struggles with. And then the other side of it, which is the kind of a sad story of financial crime, is that it has grown massively. In the last 2 years, I think it has something like it's 8 or 9 times what it was before. And this is also because of AI. Because bad actors and criminals, they don't need to answer to regulators. They don't need to explain their models or think about anything other than how can I use this technology to fraud more money and steal more and scam more people. So it's kind of this race that criminals are already using AI to launder money and apply to fraud and scam use cases. So then the financial institutions and payments companies and banks, they need to do the same on the opposite end, which is to use AI to help stop the criminals from doing what they're trying to do.
Yeah, here we are trying to protect all our data, our customers' data, and then we are very careful going here and there, how we manage it. But when the bad actors come, yeah, they have no incentive. In fact, their incentive is to let the data out. So I think it's much easier for the bad guys to, yeah, just use AI for whatever that they think of without thinking of the adverse effects or the consequences.
Unfortunately, that is very true. But again, the silver lining is that there are many companies on the financial crime prevention space that are helping customers prevent bad actors using AI, using highly intelligent systems to stop it. So I know it has been on the rise, but I do think that there's light at the end of the tunnel where we will see a curve in it once these kind of AI-enabled systems fully come adopted and help tackle the AI-enabled financial crime.
Yeah, for sure. And it's exactly like your work at ComplyAdvantage, where you help these companies fight the bad actors and fight crime. A bit more about what you do as well. So in your work, in your line of work, AI decisions carry real compliance consequences. What leadership challenges do you face when supporting customers who operate under such scrutiny?
Right, so we go kind of back to a bit on the regulation side and a bit on the AI-enabled financial crime side, or to put in other terms, it's like explainability versus innovation, or stagnation versus innovation, which is that customers do, and they know these things, so they do want to adopt AI quickly, or like any solution that really helps them get their business done and help them serve their customers better. And AI can be a good tool for that. But again, on the other side, for like regulated industries, they do need to be able to explain why, let's say, an AI model flagged a customer as criminal or flagged some of the account activity as suspicious. So it's a balance of, we need to be able to move fast, but we need to have fail safes and guards and explainability, because the Monetary Authority of Singapore will come on an annual basis and ask us these questions like, why did you make these decisions and choices? They need to be able to explain them. So that balance is one aspect of it. And I think another, again, we go back to, I guess, innovation versus stagnation, is that this is still a relatively new technology. It's like 2-3 years old. And whenever it comes to something new, there's also always a risk of it not being implemented in the best possible ways. So on one hand, if you have a company that just keeps doing what they're doing, no one is likely to lose their jobs over, sticking to what they know. But on the other hand, if you do a very poorly implemented AI implementation, then your neck is on the line. You might, something went horribly wrong. It didn't integrate correctly. The data was poor quality, or the model hallucinated something to our customers that led to a PR scandal. your neck is on the line there. So
Yeah,
that I understand the sentiment that there's this risk of doing something new, but I would say that there's a short-term risk of, doing an AI adoption and implementation and something going wrong. But I think there's even bigger long-term risk of doing nothing. Because as we said a couple of times, the AI-enabled financial crime is growing. So doing nothing and burying your head in the sand is not really a good long-term solution.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about customer success. So we talk about AI trends in customer support. You've held the role of customer success in several industries. From your perspective, what AI trends are having the biggest impact on how organizations deliver customer support today?
I think there's two things that are definitely mention worthy. And one, which I think everyone already knows, are these large language models like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Meta's Llama. And, they really broke the bank when they launched 3 years ago. Many people are using ChatGPT already, so they know what it is. But that was the first thing that really helped drive efficiency across the board, which is if you give, because again, any company can upload 1,000-page manual to ChatGPT, give it to their employees, and for any customer question, just ask the ChatGPT model that has your company manual, and it will, with amazing accuracy, if it's in the manual, it'll find the answer, and it can even refer to you the page number and the paragraph. Like if you want to verify, here's where I found the answer. You can find it on this page, on this paragraph, and then the customer support person can verify, check, and then answer to the customer. And this, again, massive change in efficiency, and it has undoubtedly led to significantly better customer support experience, kind of net promoter score. So just this kind of text exchange, AI chatbots that can be used by humans. Like I'm going to have this manual, I upload it here, customer questions come in, I check, and then there's a human in the loop. That alone was like a big game changer. And the other kind of game changer that is happening now is this agentic AI, which ChatGPT already has their own, and there are many others out there. They can be very purpose-built or more general. And that's the idea of this AI having agency to do something for your behalf. So in the recent past, it was just ask a question, get a reply. And it's like this kind of text exchange only. And today already, you can take it a step further where you would have, well, I'll take a simple, let's say, sales prospecting example, which is a prospect comes in, you have a call with them, and then you tell the AI, okay, we have to deal with the call with the prospect, fill in everything. And it actually, for your behalf, goes on to, let's say, logs into Salesforce. It logs in all the customer details, names, revenues, and other information. Then it can draft a contract using your contract template. And then it can give you an email draft like here's everything. The information is in Salesforce. Here's the contract. If you want to, it could even email the customer on all of these things. So it is this next level of actually doing things on your behalf, not just answering questions for your behalf.
Yeah, that's definitely automation on the next level. Not just making knowledge easy to reach, but the taking action part also easy to execute. So that was customer service in a broad sense. So specifically in financial crime operations, I'm sure certain factors are more dominant and more crucial. What are some of the AI trends that are most relevant for customer support or customer success in financial crime operations?
Okay, I would do the same thing, which I'll split it between kind of agentic and non-agentic, because there are two different trends that are within each category. So first, if we were just talking about, let's say, like large language model type approach. So it's again this, as I said in the beginning, customers and banks and payments companies, they oftentimes they have to first screen their customers. They need to know who they are, and then they need to monitor their customers to make sure that they're not doing any money laundering or anything else nefarious, or that a bad actor didn't just gain access to their bank account and stole everything. So they do have these behavioral rules that they keep updating. Which like, oh, we noticed that someone's monies were stolen. We're going to go back and see what was the behavior leading up to it. Or some account was actually caught by the police and it was used for money laundering. They're going to go back and analyze what was the money laundering behavior. So they can build these behavioral rules to monitor across all their accounts if there are other accounts that are doing similar behavior that they need to tag as suspicious. That takes a lot of time because you do have human analysts analyzing all of this, thousands upon thousands of bank accounts and transactions and what else. That AI can do that for your behalf very quickly, which again, this is more on the kind of large language model approach where you can upload a lot of structured, clean, good quality data to an AI system or machine learning model, and then help it like identify existing and new suspicious behavior so that humans and these kind of companies can then go, great, like we didn't even know that. Now we can apply those rules proactively instead of retroactively. And again, that will help curb and prevent financial crime. So that's on the large language model part. And then we go to the agentic part. And that is similar in the sense like I said, like companies need to screen their customers, they need to screen their and monitor their behavior. And there's always a human analyst in the loop, and that there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of false alerts saying, well, Eugene is actually on a US sanctions list. When you create an account in a bank, you go, oh yeah, Eugene is in a sanctions list. But then if a human looks at it and like, oh, well, the person who is in the sanctions list is actually a 70-year-old person in the United States. Eugene here is a 30-something-year-old in Singaporean. So we understand that the name is a match, but a human reading that realizes that this is obviously a false alert. Eugene is not a criminal. He's not a 70-year-old person living in the United States. And that is something that an agentic AI can also do for companies, which is like when these alerts, whether it's from screening or this behavioral monitoring come up, they can actually do analysis. And then they can write comments like, hey, I've gone through this profile and I've gone through their date of birth matching. I've checked their country of residence and nationality. I've checked their age, their names, middle names, and I can with 95% certainty say that this is a false alert. And then it has commentary, or again, if a regulator asks, why was this decision made? But again, it can drive down the time needed to clear these obvious false alerts on behalf of customers like 70, 80, 90% of the time. So we go back to this is an AI that will actually do things on your behalf, explain why they made the decisions they made, and then human can still be in the loop to kind of review and confirm that everything is up to code and up to standard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the explanation piece, I think, puts certain AIs or AI systems or company solutions on a next level. Because if AI remains to be a black box, and then it's hard to explain, it will be difficult to scale, yeah? Yeah, it will be difficult to let other people who are not power users, are not in the space, who know exactly how AI works. It will be hard to tell them that this is working for you and not against you. So yeah, definitely I think the explainability helps adoption and helps scaling as well, right?
Well said. And yeah, I think you very well said, like that it's working for you instead of against you, because again, that can happen. And I think, there are some examples in the recent past where companies hastily implemented a support chatbot, and then I think there were numbers like there's an airline company and a car manufacturer that the AI chatbot sold plane tickets and cars for $1, which is not really work. That's the AI working against you, because I don't think the company wanted it to be selling cars for $1 or flights for $1, but it may have been a black box implementation that I really did not understand why the choices were made, and then there was a bit of a PR scandal after.
Yeah, maybe the logic said, sell this ticket at all costs. And then it went crazy.
Precisely. It did what it was asked to do, which is just sell tickets, no guardrails and no safeguards, and that's what it did.
Yeah. So as a big advocate in customer service, I'm sure it is part of your ethic to stand in your customer's viewpoint and think about what's best for them. So could you share what are some of the principles that guide your decision making when helping clients adopt AI responsibly and effectively?
There's a couple of things that come to mind, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, which is the data quality. And that deserves a special mention. The old adage of garbage in, garbage out is very true. So if you have unstructured, poor quality data, even if you have a lots of it, you throw it into any AI model, what you will get back is just noise. Because there's nothing just like humans cannot make sense of really messy data, neither can an AI system. So the foundation needs to be solid. So I need to have ideally rich, structured data, and then lots of it. And then when you kind of start with that, then the end results will be leaps and bounds better than they would have been with a crappier, unstructured data. So that's like kind of one. And I did mention a few times this kind of explainability, whether it's to a regulator or to your boss or your boss's boss or to your customer. That's the but I think we've covered that in detail already. And then I guess two other things that come to mind are one is, which I mentioned in the beginning, which is this, you need to have measurable success metrics and then a quantifiable impact or ROI. And that's something that we are moving definitely towards that direction now where when the person who holds the budget, whether that is your CFO or CTO, whoever else, go like, okay, you are asking me for an amount of money to buy or implement this AI-enabled system. How does this dollar spent return back to the company? That needs to be quantifiable. So that means you need to have success metrics so that you can quantify it, and you need to have metrics that can be quantifiable. If it's just, people used 30, 40 minutes a day using this new AI system, that doesn't really mean it's a good time spent. That's like one really important thing to also keep in mind already in the beginning. Like, how does this add value to my team, to my company, to our customers? How can I measure that value? That's a question that pretty much everyone asks today. And then, the last bit I think would be the scalability. If you build a very elaborate, amazing Excel number cruncher on steroids that Josh at finance can use and no one else, it's not really a good use of money either, because then you have a very limited scale. So it's again more like, okay, what is the problem we're trying to solve? How does AI fit into it? And how big is the problem? How scalable is the solution? And if you kind of tick box all those four things, more likely than not, you're in a good track to implement something really meaningful.
Let's talk about implementation, right? And in a high stakes environment where errors matter, in your experience, how do you normally see an idea typically move from exploration to adoption?
Yeah, so we first of all we try to tackle all those 4 points that I mentioned earlier, and what we do in Comply and in my previous companies as well is that we do start with workshops, discovery workshops, implementation workshops, and at the very early on, kind of we start with a simple 2-part question, which is, what is the problem that you are trying to solve?
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem that an AI can solve?
Yeah.
And if there's no overlap, they're like, okay, we get it. You do have a business problem. You need to solve it. You need to find something else. There's the AI that is not fit for purpose to solve this problem. But we start with those questions that, okay, what is the problem? And how can AI, or what is a problem that AI can solve? Or rather, can AI solve or help solve this problem? And when we have that overlap, then that's a great starting point. And then we tick box those 4 things. Is your data ready? Do you have measurable ROI? Is it scalable? Is it explainable? And then that's how we kind of start mapping then the timeline. We tick those 4 boxes. We decide on the owners, and when we have these kind of consultative workshops. And then, of course, even when we start implementation, we do this proof of concept, proof of value first, where we run it in a sandbox environment. So we do pipe in their real data. We have the problem at hand, and then we have that AI-enabled solution, and then we see if it's working as intended, if it needs to be tweaked or changed, and then only after doing that and being absolutely certain that it is solving the problem and working as intended, then we can move on to kind of implement it in production. So there's a very guided rollout with kind of tracking all the metrics and the quantifiable ROI.
I guess a bit of a bonus question here. I think,
Yes.
yeah. So this is a good approach, and it's very structured and it's very understandable. In your experience of implementing these for multiple customers, what are some of the challenges that you face, and how do you overcome them in this 3-step approach?
One definitely is the data quality.
Mm,
And that I think that's a part of that is because we are oftentimes AI can be implemented or help solve any number of business problems.
mm-hmm,
And I understand that they're on the other side, they might not be engineers, the
mm-hmm,
recipients. So they might be business people, they might be account people, customer support, you name it. So it wouldn't be fair to assume that they have in-depth knowledge of AI systems and solutions, such
yeah,
as you need to have structured, clean, rich data. So the education is a big part of it always. And that's why we start with a simple question: what is your problem? And what are the solutions that AI can solve? So this not being educated about AI is something that anyone dealing with AI solutions or trying to build or sell AI solutions need to be mindful of that. We do need to educate our customers because they are not technical, and we shouldn't assume that they have in-depth knowledge of AI systems and solutions. So educating them on what can be solved, what is needed, and then there are, of course, reasonably some pushback on, as I mentioned earlier, this fear. What if it fails? What if I lose my job because I implement something that, sells tickets for $1 or cars for $1? And that's why we have this kind of clear guided rollout to
mm,
mitigate that fear. First of all, these people who are willing to kind of come to you and say, you know what, I want to try something new. I have a job, everything's going well, I'm doing things as we have done before, but I want to really go out of my way to implement AI to solve a very specific business problem. We should really cultivate those people because they are quite rare, even like in today's age, those early adopters who are willing to put maybe their
yeah,
job on the line to do something kind of risky but potentially impactful. So to kind of cultivate those champions and help them any way they can to, again, educate what can be done, and then to mitigate the fear, maybe not just for the person, but the people they need to convince. They need to convince their CFO or CTO, like, hey, we want to implement this new technology system that needs to have access to our data and be hosted somewhere else to help kind of mitigate that fear, which is, again, having that very guided rollout plan of this is what we're going to do first. We're going to then test it in Sandbox. We will give to you our like documentation on where the data is being hosted and any certificate that the IT might need in order to allow this proof of concept to move through. So it is a lot of education as well as assuring and having those credentials that we are a certified expert of doing this. Our data is hosted very securely. And again, we go back to explainability on pretty much everything because it is a new technology. And there are, understandably so, some fear on what happens if I allow this to kind of communicate with our systems and then impact our business. So those are definitely things that we come across a lot.
yeah, absolutely. I love the point about education. I think it is so key. The knowledge about AI, ML, and data, it's so wide in the market right now. There are people who are in the industry like ourselves, and we speak about it, we talk about it, it's in our work conversations, our non-work conversations. But then there are also people who are non-digital natives or non-AI natives where, yeah, this is absolutely new to them. So when you talked about education, yeah, I personally resonated with that a lot. And especially from a business standpoint, I think when people, you alluded to this as well, customers or even before they become customers, they're taking a risk, right? When they're adopting AI, it is maybe not to the people that we're talking to themselves, but their stakeholders, the business owners that they report to. This is the great unknown to them, and the
Yeah.
patience that is needed to educate the guy even before the solution or any kind of AI adoption is considered is really needed. And I think you also mentioned this, that not just before adoption, but during adoption as well, because it's like taking a car on a new road, right? The car might be familiar, but the road is not. The destination might not be. So yeah, taking that ride with them, and that's where customer support or customer service, customer success comes in a key role, right? Because it's constantly talking to them, giving them the assurance, giving them the confidence that this is something for them for the long term. Yeah. So thank you for
Well
sharing on that. I
said.
think it's very insightful.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that. Something that you said really stuck with me in turn, which was the car might be known to you, but the road and the destination are not. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna use that with my customer from henceforth.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So over the years, could you share some examples or applications of how you have seen Gen AI or predictive models improve customer support outcomes? It could be in financial crime, it could be advertising, or just any domain experience that you have come across before.
Yeah, there's of course many examples. One or two that come to mind. Comes to mind. I remember reading this. It's actually from OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI partnered up with Klarna, which is a Swedish buy now, pay later company, very tech savvy, very early adopter type, and they partnered up to do customer support. So like, so Klarna, they deal with a lot of refunds, there's returns, payment issues, that kind of stuff. So they have millions and millions of customer conversations a month or a year, and they implemented I think it was a human in the loop kind of chatbot that used the customer manuals, other information from their database. And again, because they are very tech savvy, so they did this measurable business metrics and quantifiable ROI. There are many kind of data points from that study. One that really resonated with me was that, or two, which is one that their support ticket resolution time. So when a customer comes in and starts something with, I have a problem with the refund, it used to be 11 minutes on average, which by the way is really, really fast.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it went from 11 minutes to 2 minutes
Oh, wow.
after implementing the AI assistant. I think the assistant had over 2 million conversations with customers, thereabouts. I forget the time frame, but again, over 2 million conversations, dropped down the average ticket resolution time from 11 minutes to 2, and they did quantify what does that mean in terms of dollars and cents,
Yeah.
and kind of calculated that it's roughly $40 million of annual profit, a reduction in support ticket resolution time delivered for Klarna. So a great use case, very common. Like you can measure it, you can quantify it, and then you can reap the benefits.
Let's dive deeper into the BFSI sector.
Hmm.
How do you expect AI to reshape financial crime operations and the supporting customer experience in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, because again, AI has only been around in 3 years, so
Yeah,
for
man.
3 years, because that is it. So we don't know. I expect great things. I
Mm-hmm.
know that Sam Altman says that we will reach AGI, so artificial general intelligence, in 3 to 5 years. I don't think we'll get there. I don't think we will reach human level cognition for AI in the next 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Sam Altman has said that it may happen, but that's the thing with this industry is like 3 to 5 years, which is in many other industries, short to medium time frame. In
Yeah.
AI, oof, that's going to be an interesting. I'll look forward to it for sure. But okay, some things that I think might happen is we go back to, let's say, agentic. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that kind of came about this year. I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe late last year, it kind of came about, and that I think will start moving and penetrating different industries, which means that you have this kind of full stack automation where an
Mm.
AI agent will get a request. And for example, in financial crime, it can analyze and monitor behavior, this kind of customer behavior. It can flag suspicious alerts. It can then take action. They can freeze a customer account. They can send a report to the police or to the relevant authority. So this goes beyond financial crime industry as well, of course, but this kind of agentic automation where you have humans overseeing it, but then AI actually doing a lot of the work, the manual work that is currently being done. So that is definitely one thing that is already happening, and I would say will continue to strengthen and be more ubiquitous. So agentic AI, and then just kind of using AI for this in financial crime, at least, for these kind of behavioral detecting analysis. So very advanced analysis on what customer behavior is happening, what is maybe suspicious or nefarious, and then taking action on that. But I think that the overarching headline is agentic AI is, at least today, the name of the game.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go down to the last couple of questions for today, but I'd like to throw in a few bonus questions. Looking forward, being forward looking, right? What is some of the advice that you would give to builders and leaders? And I'd like to ask you that question in two parts. I think number one, the advice that you give to business owners and leaders of their business, if they are looking to consider adopting AI on a wider scale today or in the near future, what's the kind of advice that you give to them?
Well, something that I kind of mentioned how we approach every new customer or prospect, and that's something that I definitely think all the leaders should cultivate, which is this two-part approach of understanding the technology and understanding your business. If you are already a leader, you probably understand your business already very well. Then it's like understanding the solutions that AI can provide. So it goes back to what are the problems that we face as a company today or tomorrow? What are things that AI can solve today or tomorrow? So it's also kind of looking ahead on where is AI going, but having that kind of two minds approach of understanding both the business as well as AI. So getting educated on AI is one thing that is not obvious to business leaders, because I would assume and hope that they are at least very knowledgeable about their business. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be business leaders in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they do decide to take the leap and implement, a couple of things that I have mentioned before is making sure that the foundation is right, making sure that you have ideally structured, rich data and lots of it. Then you have the foundation in place that can help you hit the ground running and have a good, successful outcome, have those success metrics and quantifiable ROI, and then having that whole solution be somewhat explainable and trusted. Again, doesn't have to be to the regulators, but probably at some point you do have to explain to someone why this massive scale AI implementation is doing the things that it's doing, or how it's doing the things it's doing. So kind of having that in the back of your mind, like at some point I will probably need to explain some aspect of this solution to someone.
And part B of that question, the advice that you give to leaders who are solution or service providers. They could be in customer support, they could be technology providers. What's the advice that you will give to them?
Well, I'm very biased, but I do want to like, yes, start adopting it now, because across like many, I've seen case studies from OpenAI and Google Gemini and many others, these kind of LLMs. The very first case studies that I saw, the most successful ones at least, they were about customer success. They were about support, because it's almost purpose built for those, because it's ingesting a lot of information, making sense of it, and then giving an accurate answer. I know hallucination is a thing that we would never fully be rid of, but for customer support, for customer success, you are dealing with a lot of information, at least if you're in technology, difficult, complex customer questions, and then you might have an API documentation or a manual that is 1,000 pages long or longer. So there's really no reason to wait to start actually implementing something, because these large language models, they are built for many things, but one thing they do really well is making sense of large amounts of information quickly and giving out answer, and giving out also references on where they found the answer, where you can verify that the information is correct. So that would probably help a lot of companies deliver a better customer experience for their customers.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks, Manny. Thanks for your insights today. Once again, Matti serves as the head of customer success of APAC at ComplyAdvantage, and he has spent years of his career doing customer success and in the AI space. So this is Ctrl Shifter. If you like today's episode, continue to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you so much, everyone.